lot to the organizers for giving us an opportunity to interact and stand before such an august gathering. Today's talk is entitled Modulatory Effect of Micronutrients on Metal Toxicity. What global risk factors are responsible for causing most human death? And in it, one is the most important factor, that is malnutrition. Poor nutrition causes almost 45% of death in children. Worldwide, approximately 2 billion people are affected by hidden hunger, and trace element or micronutrient deficiency causes they are more prone to more severe illness, more infant and maternal deaths, and lower cognitive development. There is a relation between diet and disease, especially in developing countries. Global food systems are failing to provide adequate quantities of essential nutrients for good health in many developing nations, and decreased availability of many trace elements and micronutrients. Nutrition transitions are causing increased rate of chronic diseases in many nations. Today, more than all chronic diseases caused by food choice, toxic food ingredients, nutritional deficiencies, and lack of physical exercise. We'll concentrate more on the nutritional deficiencies today. Is decreasing. If we see from the 1990 to 1992 and then from 2011 to 2013, this is a good graph stating that prevalence of undernourishment is decreasing, but prevalence of micronutrient deficiencies, this is the red, India has got the significant number. 2 billion people are micronutrient deficient. Trace elements have huge and have geoparalyzed the national economy and prosperity of developing nations, countries. This is the vicious cycle where we can see poor physical and mental growth, frequent infections, increased risk of chronic disease. This health aspect affects the economic aspect as well as the social aspect of a person and of a nation. This is the social as poor health, loss of money in treatment, and increased poverty. So this is the vicious cycle which continues if there is a malnutrition or a disease like trace element disease, especially in developing countries. People are really not aware of these trace elements. This is the ugly face of hidden hunger. We can easily see like zinc deficiency, selenium deficiency, iodine, iron, and calcium. The micronutrient deficiency can be these four, that 35% of the women and 46% of the children are deficient of iron, almost 87% of zinc, 59 selenium, and calcium. We have got limited information. It varies significantly from different countries and nations. There is no safe level of heavy metal. Low levels are becoming dangerous. They accumulate fast, they become stored, and low levels sometimes becomes higher when we are not to the human system. Thus, the vision was to prevent occupational diseases. The aim is to evaluate the therapeutic aspect of chelators along with trace elements, micronutrients, and resurgence of metal poisoning, and we have taken animal model and human subjects. We thought of evaluating chelating agents per se and chelating agents along with trace elements so as to develop a companion formula of choice. Lactating animals subjected to acute, subchronic, and chronic exposures, many toxicants has been studied by us, and different chelating agents has been taken, and in supplements we have taken zinc, selenium, iron, calcium, and magnesium. The methodology which we followed is we did acute, subchronic, and chronic metal poisoning. Then we studied the cellular and molecular mechanisms of detoxification in blood and tissues. Then biological monitoring for humans, and we did some human studies also. Thus, we delved deep into the following aspects, like to evaluate whether trace element or metal or companion formula inhibits oxidative stress, recovers membrane integrity, restores the histopathological and ultrastructural changes, whether mobilizes metal from tissues and blood, and recovers genotoxic damage or apoptosis, and then verification of human exposure to the toxicant. India and mercury exposure. India accounts for 50% of global consumption of mercury and processes 69% of all the mercury in the world. It is one of the main hotspots, and local contamination of mercury is very high in India. India is verging on alarming situation due to discharge of industrial effluents containing mercury, which exceeds WHO and Indian standard limits. 100 and 50 to 75% of it is released into the environment by human activities. This is the situation on ground. No alternate of fluorescent lamps. Currently, only 10% of them, they use CFL, but recently, with the awareness, they have started using more, and this is the situation of indiscriminate dumping on the ground. Important recent evidences of harm where we are unregulated, sold openly. This is how in India the mercury exposure is from thermal power plants, instrument manufacturing, others like plant production, dental use, batteries, mining, vinyl clothing production, etc. All these things accounts for the mercury exposure. This is a repetition, yeah. This is unregulated religious and cultural use, especially in the children. These run milk. And this is specially prepared by the children. The age of the children starts from their 8 till 14. This is the children, those who are preparing, and they're sold openly in the large scale in religious and cultural towns, websites, and TV sky shops. So our concern is that the children, they are exposed right at the age of 10 years and on an average. So some findings on mercury. This is the graph showing the activity of acetyl. Administration of mercury causes significant rise in acetylcholinesterase and these liver markers, and the treatment with the NAC along with zinc and treatment with the NAC along with the results and it was very significant in restoring the nephropathy in the animals. Mercury increases the methylthionein content in the liver and the brain, and you can see from here that almost 50 to 60% recoupment was seen in the level of what? It was a significant decrease in it with the therapy of zinc and selenium. Same here, when we studied the electron microscopical study, there was significant degeneration in the liver, kidney, and brain, but amount of regenerative changes was comparatively very high when the treatment was given. From here we can say the mitochondria, thermometer, so system, and contaminating our water supply. From pottery, glaze, ligaments, silver, costly in India, and making this children. And so ultimately we want the targets for this from where the lead is into. So, markers of lead like acetyl and aminolevinic acid synthetase. These are the markers of significant rise in the body. There was significant rise in intoxication, and this was better recouped with the addition of NAC. And we go for liver, we have taken glutathione reduction, then glutathione S-transferase, phosphatase, that is very effective in recouping the toxic and brain. The mean damage was significantly higher here. And it also shows that NAC was a very. Here we have taken one more combination just to show that La and acid and calcium. With in occupationally exposed blind people, they are exposed to blood was collected in winters, and we got them investigated for a significant rise in the blood levels of painters. PCV. Total erythrocyte count was also low, and total leukocyte count, a group of painters which were residing in a particular area. We have taken their entire history also, how long they have been living over there, what other things they are involved in, and after that we have come to this conclusion. We did this in battery manufacturers area also with the workers. So blood lead levels was considerably high in workers, amounting to 53 to control. So we can see this is a very high figure, and really this graph shows the relationship between blood lead levels and alpha-limonic acid in urine. So in the exposed group, this is non-exposed, no positive correlation is seen in the non-exposed control human workers. And here there is a positive correlation exists between this and blood lead levels of the exposed groups. So despite modern still exist, the use of lead is totally unregulated in Indian paints. This study reveals painters have potential risk of lead poisoning, including the battery workers. If we just quickly look into it, we have presented here selenium and zinc. This metal, if we add selenium and zinc, selenoproteins break down products, there is no fuse, and this loss of function is stopped at 1 and 2 level. These are the slides showing that which all chelating agents we took. We took these chelating agents for lead, and we have given supplementation with iron, calcium, zinc, and selenium. In antioxidants, we have taken NAC and lipoic acid, and we could see that out of a very elaborate study, we could get as one of the best combinations. We studied the battery workers. The battery workers reported of severe anemia and colic pains. And we can say that these nutritional deficiencies, they increase absorption of lead. Orally consumed lead may be absorbed in place of calcium also. We did studies against beryllium also, and we injected through IM, IP, and IV routes, and entire acute, subchronic, and chronic studies were done. And many number of chelating agents, along with the antioxidants, were selenium, zinc, iron, and calcium. Natural products also we studied, like piperine, gallic acid, and propolis. But here also we could say that we got selenium, DPA plus selenium, and taurine plus iron as one of the most effective combinations. Aluminum, my student Sadhana will be presenting. So thus the study casts the light on the possible corrective role of trace elements and chelating agents. Thus, dative supplementation in the diet should be more widely promoted, variety of expensive chelation treatment, and also as a safer alternative work method. Here we can say trace element can be a link between food and health. Here, see, food means nutrition and nutrition means health. If we need to identify the nutritional needs, dietary intakes, nutrition well-being, and nutrition literacy. This all accounts to food security. And then food and nutrition education should be given to the developing countries, especially to the developing country people, and a culture of food should be our ultimate goal. Food culture should be established in their minds, thus nutrition, security, and well-being for all can only come because of food culture. The global targets for 2025 is to improve maternal, infant, and young nutrition. WHO member states have also endorsed global targets for improving maternal, infant, and young children nutrition and are committed to monitoring progress. The targets are vital for identifying priority areas for action and catalyzing global change. Metal in man, that should be the learning. Discover why heavy metals may be causing more unexplained health problems. Neither treatment nor tragedy need occur if prevention prevails. Thank you very much for patiently.
This paper is open for discussion or any questions?
Thank you for your talk. I would like to know, besides N-acetylcysteine and glutathione, have you tried other suppliers or sources for glutathione synthesis? Adenosylmethionine, for example? You have used N-acetylcysteine and glutathione suppliers for glutathione synthesis, like, for example, adenosylmethionine.
That we could have done, but we have done a separate study in that. We have tried both in a separate study, but due to lack of time, I presented only one combination here. Because it's very difficult to present all the combination that I have summarized in one slide. That we did this all per se. Then along with combinations, and then along with the synthesis.
A little surprised by your conclusion, because you seem to suggest that food should be supplemented with selenium and other trace metals. From what you're presenting, it seems that you have a problem with your working conditions. So if your children, if your employees working in the thermometer or battery factoring are exposed to lead and taste of lead, then it is not, I think, an issue of supplementing the wound. From my perspective,
They will eat chapatis, they will eat rice, but they will not go for supplementation. So ultimately what happens, there is a trace element deficiency or this macronutrient deficiency prevails in their body. That's number one. Number two, this is nothing to do with it, but this is a second aspect where the children, they are malnourished. Okay, they are malnourished. So they are more prone to different diseases. But even correct nutrition. So we need to have a drive for nutrition, trace element supplementation, how trace element is helping even in the recovery of such huge damage. This is what we were promoting.
yes, I understand, but the data you're providing are not related to that topic at all.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Sangeeta, I just have one small question.
Yes, sir.
These elements, mercury and lead, which you discussed in great detail. Okay, it was not converted to methyl mercury or
We
not?
have studied organic mercury. Yes, ma'am?
Thank you for an interesting talk. I just wondered how you found your controls and how you matched them, because obviously there's many confounding factors, particularly with sort of the painters and controls. How were you checking that there weren't other
Madam,
influences?
we have prepared a questionnaire, and in the questionnaire, first we go to the families, their family history, number one. In that questionnaire, we have taken, like, if the family is engaged in the age group, many factors, plus if they are involved in any other thing, like they are taking some other things, some other medicines also. The team of doctors were with us, and they investigated them. The questionnaire was prepared, and based on, we have studied more than 200 human subjects for one particular area, like Shivpuri 200, Gwalior 200, different districts we covered, and then we came to this conclusion.
Sorry, I was just wondering, I was talking more about the controls rather than the actual subjects, because I want things like that. So how were you finding local controls, or who were your control group?
We have taken, full care to take the control human subjects.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.